Hi everyone, it's Jason, your favorite Asian. Favorite Asian. How are you, cookie lovers? Let me just straighten this camera. It's Jason again in his pajamas as per usual. It's nothing but glamour in this channel. I'm back again for another book review, and today we're reviewing the Bookbinder of Jericho by Pip Williams. Can you see it? 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 First off, I'm just gonna say it right now. Love this book. Love this book. Go buy it. Go read it. And that's the end. That's the end of the book. That's the end of the book review. So the last time you saw me, I was reviewing the Dictionary of Lost Words. This is sort of its sequel, but it goes in a different tangent. It's got a different character, and it goes through this character's narrative, obviously, and her story. But it is loosely tied to this book. Together, they're both, together they explore the themes of knowledge, staying true to oneself, and pushing against the social norms of the times, and going above and beyond those limitations to achieve what you want for self-improvement. So very inspiring, very well written. This book is roughly 334 pages narration with some extra pages for acknowledgements and notes. So if you're like me, I can't read, or I find it hard to read past 300 pages. I'm no longer at an age, I'm afraid, of being able to have that stamina, I think. Back in the day, I used to be able to read a lot of stuff, a lot of books past 500 pages. And in fact, my biggest memory was, one of my most vivid memory was just reading a book from front to back in one day. I think it was like at the age of 12, and I was reading a Nancy Drew book. Nancy Drew for the win, first girl boss, yay. But I can't do that now, in terms of I can't just sit all day and read without a break. I have to take a break occasionally now. But even though it's 400 pages, it's really well written. The pace is quick, how it goes through the story, through the characters. It's a cracking read. The dialogue is great. The characters are quite vivid. Unlike this book, which goes through a lot of time in terms of the period of time that the narrative takes place, this one only happens within 4 years. So it starts off at 1914, which is obviously World War I, and it sort of ends roughly at the end of World War I, so 1914 to 1918. There's no real villain. What I love about this book is that there's actually no real villain. There's a character that seems quite bitchy, but I think it works because of how this character is within the time frame or the time period this book is set in. But you don't really hate her. I didn't really hate her. She was more painful than anything else. What the villain would be in this book is mostly about, if there was a villain, it's the abstract concept of how society was, the events that took place, and just the restrictions placed upon women or certain classes. Women of certain class and women and certain classes. So what I'm saying is it explores the themes of the divide between, I'd say, the middle class, the wealthy, to the working class, low class. And then by extension, it explores the division between education, or the uneducated, to obviously the educated, and obviously men versus women rights. So those are the things or the themes that this book actually explores. I think if you read this book first, you will appreciate this book as much more than if you just read this book by itself. Although I think you probably need to take a break from this book before going into this book, because what I did was I jumped straight ahead. I didn't even take 2 days break. I think I had a day's break before I started reading this book, and I don't think I appreciated this book well enough because the characters from the first book were still fresh in my mind. That being said, the characters in here are still quite vivid. They're well written, they're well rounded. Like I said, the dialogue between each character is quite engaging, and the relationships within each other is quite enduring, actually. So without that, what am I trying to say? They're still quite good. Like, don't discount their impact that they will have on you while reading this. And like I said before, if you can, read this book, The Surgeon of Crawthorne, which is about the gentleman that contributed a lot to the English dictionary. So this book is about how the dictionary was made. If you read this book, you will actually appreciate these two together, and then you read this book, you will appreciate how books are made. There was a great line in here, or a great scene, where someone was saying, I love books, but I never actually thought about how they were put together physically. And that's me. I've always loved books since I was little, but I never actually thought about how they were made, and even how they, back in these days, it was truly a craft. So I'm actually gonna go down a big rabbit hole and watch some videos about, on YouTube, obviously, how books are binded. So yeah, so it's a great book. I think also these books explore the themes of power as well. From my perspective, from a colored person's perspective reading this as well, I think she doesn't explicitly say it, but what I can take from this book is that, careful, very controversial statement I'm about to say, is white men throughout history could have done better. So obviously this book talks about knowledge. Obviously knowledge is power. Who decides what knowledge is, or what knowledge is worth sharing, and who decides who can have that knowledge and how they have that knowledge, and the repercussions of it. So I think there's hang on, let me just I think this book says it. It's about it's a story about knowledge. Who gets to make it, who gets to access it, and what is lost when it is withheld. So if you look back historically speaking, most of the people that made these decisions, or most of the people that were in power, were white men. So I really think, again, this is just my opinion, don't come at me, white men could really have done better back in those days. And even today, if you look at today, most of the men in power are white men, and they could do better. You know what I mean? White men could do better. Especially, isn't it weird that, at a certain age, we're told to retire at 80, but guess who's in power? Guess who's in power right now? White men in their 80s. So I'm going off in a massive rant, massive tangent, obviously. But yeah, so these books, I think, it doesn't say it doesn't explore it, but what I'm taking from this is old white men could have done better, historically speaking. But yeah, I think reading all three together would be such a great read all together, because they both tie in the themes in terms of, knowledge. So this is actually an autobiography for $10. I suggest you pick it up. I might actually reread this and do another book review for this. So let me know if you want me to do that. Let me know if you enjoy book reviews. If you want more book reviews. So I've lost my train of thought. Very romantic. Very, very romantic. So, I just burped. Very romantic. So if you like period romance novels, this will hit the spot. If you like historical based books, this will hit the spot. And even if you just have I don't know, fascination about language, fascination about words, the English language, books, they will hit the spot. So I highly recommend that you read these. I think someone said to me there's going to be a third book of the same author. By the way, Australian author, Australian writer, so all the Aussies support her. I'm biased. I feel like Australian writers are killing it at the moment. They're killing it. So yeah, so the book's still in print as well, so don't miss out. I'm trying to trace a book that I've read in the past that I want to reread, and it's not in print anymore, and it's quite hard to actually get. So while they're in print, do not miss out. And love the characters in here. Specifically love where she lives. So I won't read it. I'm trying to be very top line. I don't want to actually ruin any of the narrative for it if you're gonna read it. Don't want to ruin any characters for you guys, and I actually also want you guys to come in here with your own. You can decide what you think about the characters and the story itself. But from my perspective, read it. It's worth a read. Like I said, it moves at a cracking pace. You don't realize how fast you're reading it. Sorry, it's quite late at night. You don't realize how fast you're reading it until you get to the end or even to the middle of the book and you're like, oh, I'm already there. So, yeah. What else can I say about this book besides great cover? So, I get sucked in by covers, so great cover as well. Yeah, and the style of the book, how she's written it, is very easy to penetrate. There's not, even though I say it's about language, it's about knowledge, it's about this and that, quite deep meanings, you know, the social divide, you know, educated versus uneducated, working class versus rich, women versus men, those kind of deep themes. The book itself is written quite well and easily be able to be read. Her style flows. She doesn't go off in different tangents within one sentence, within one paragraph. So it's very easy to follow. You don't get confused about who's speaking. You don't get confused about what character did this or what character did that. So yeah, it's an easy read, but very deep. My God, like I cried in some certain parts again. Yes, I'm Jason and I cry over books. But yeah, so have some Kleenex handy if you're the type of person that dwells on a story as well. This will stick with you, like this book will stick with you. So be prepared for that. I found myself thinking about these characters way past the point of normality. I think I'm still dwelling on these characters, so I feel like they're my friends. So yes, if you're the type of person that dwells and falls in love with characters, be prepared because you will love this the characters in here. I just wish they kept going. I really did. I wish, like, if there's a third book, I'll be the first in line for it. But yeah, so really, just read it. Read these books, you won't regret it. That's really it. So, see you later, cookie lovers. Let me know if you want me to do more book reviews. Yeah, and remember, whatever you're going through today, tomorrow, the next week, you'll get through it, okay? Hang in there and See you soon on my next video. Bye, cookie lovers. See ya. Bye.